Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and delighted to have back in the studio with us today Terri Rasmussen. He's the president of Redemption Ridge, and we've had Terri in about this ministry before, and things are gearing up, and they are really doing a great job. In fact, a special event coming up. So, Terri, nice to have you back.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Great to be here.
For those who don't know about Redemption Ridge, give us an update on the outreach of the project.
Well, the project is building a shelter for teen victims of human trafficking, sex trafficking, which is going on in our streets. This is not something just going on in third world countries. It's happening in America, big time, and especially in Oregon. Oregon is one of the leading states for human trafficking in the nation. So there are no beds in the state of Oregon for teens that have been trafficked. They come out, they've been traumatized. Their tendency is to go right back to the pimp or the person who's victimizing them, because there's no place for them to go.
Right.
And what we're trying to do is open a shelter to where they can come in, get some counseling, get a safe place to live, and I don't want to use the word rehabilitation so much, but you do. You want to take them through the process of healing. And some of these kids actually have been raised in a home of abuse. That's the right reason that they're vulnerable to human trafficking. So you're actually trying to show them that life can actually be a different way, that what they know as a norm doesn't have to be.
Wow. All right, I know you're working on a facility here in Southern Oregon, and how do you get these girls? How do you find them, and how do they come to your shelter?
Typically, we don't do the finding. What will happen is we're working with authorities, whether it's DHS, law enforcement, FBI, word of mouth, for the girls that are being trafficked. They're struggling. All the authorities are struggling because they don't really have a safe place to put them. What they do quite often is they'll charge them with a crime, which will give them the opportunity to hold them. But all that does is re-victimize the child. Because really they're victims, they're not criminals. Anything that they've done, they have done illegally, pretty much because they've been forced to by an adult. So, but that is one of the tactics, is to charge them with a crime so that they can hold them and have their testimony, if need be. But that becomes a whole nother issue when they're being incarcerated.
I don't think we realized, and you said Oregon's one of the leading states, but how big the problem is. I've had some of the testimonies on the air, as you well know. But that whole lifestyle and how they're abducted and get into it is just, it's almost beyond our ability to comprehend. But how big is the problem here in Southern Oregon?
Well, the problem is knowing how big the problem is anywhere. Nationally, it's believed that there's around 300,000 victims annually of human trafficking in minors, not even counting the adults.
Really?
The problem is it's done on the internet, it's done underground, and knowing the exact numbers is very difficult. There's an organization in Portland working in this human trafficking realm, and they said that for every victim that they talk to, that they bring in, that there's probably 4 or 5 other victims out there that the child can name off that they've had no contact with. So as big as whatever number we think it is probably bigger than we can figure out, simply because, number one, it's hard to identify. That's the whole idea, is to keep them. The other thing is they don't self-identify. Right. So they don't see themselves as victims.
Yeah, and they're on the move all the time.
They're constantly on the move. They're on a track up and down the I-5. It's called the West Coast Kiddie Track. They move them up and down from the Canadian border to the Mexican border, from town to town to town, to keep them disoriented, to keep law enforcement from being able to track them very well and come in and do anything about it.
Wow. An incredible thing. Well, God bless you. I don't know, how did you get called into this? I mean, what in the world got a hold of you?
The way most of us men get involved in things, our wives. My wife went to an awareness event 3 years ago, roughly, and came home shocked at what she had learned. There's a detective out of Portland who'd come down to share, and so we got to looking at it, and the deeper we looked into it and found out how bad the problem was, the more you sat there and said, you know, if that was my daughter, I couldn't sit on the sidelines.
Right.
And I'm not going to sit on the sidelines.
Well, the other thing we find out, we know that the abductions that take place, and they come up missing, and then they show up in this world.
Yes, there are abductions, but that's not the typical way that they get. They're actually lured into it.
Yeah.
See, the typical girl that gets lured into this is struggling with self-esteem issues anyway. They're mostly, 90% of them have come from abusive families in one way or another.
Wow.
So the pimp, the trafficker, is looking for the down and out girl.
And they know the signs.
They know the signs.
Right.
These guys are master manipulators. They'll go to high school events, parties, whatever, win them over, begin a dating relationship with them, tell them how beautiful they are, tell them all the things that a girl would want to hear that she's never heard.
Right.
Treat her in a way that she's never been treated, love on her, buy her things, take care of her nails, her hair. The girl thinks her ship has come in. This is Mr. Romeo, and typically the guy is in his 20s, mid-20s, early 30s, and she's 13, 14, and so she's being wooed by this older man, and she can't believe this is happening. It is so romantic, and it's so wonderful, and he has this cool car outside, and she gets lured into it, and as soon as she leaves with him, because this is the guy for her, and he wants to separate her from the family, they drive off together, and that's the last you see him for a while, and he turns her out and forces her into trafficking.
All right. Where are you in the process in the shelter? And I know you have an event coming up on August 3rd. I want to get both those covered real quick here.
The shelter, we just obtained a conditional use permit, which we needed in order to use it.
Right.
So we're going to begin working on the plans. You talk about a plan for a house, and it's kind of like, how do you want it to happen?
Right.
When you're working on plans for a shelter like this, you have to get the plans approved through Department of Human Services, DHS,
Right.
the fire department, Jackson County, and the city that it's in. So there's 4 approval processes you have to go through. And so as we plan this thing out, it not only has to function for the home, which we're doing a lot of research as to what's the best layout, looking at other shelters, but also how do we make it pass all these different entities. And
so you're in that process.
Yeah, we're in the brainstorming as far as how the layout's going to work. Ken Snelling, local architect, is going to be helping us with the design on that. And so we're in that process, but we're also in the fundraising process. These things, like anything, like your ministry, cost money.
Right.
So that's what we're building that base.
All right, so you got a run and a dinner coming up August 3rd, and you got room for more runners?
We have room for lots of runners.
Okay.
We have a good group of runners, well over 100 runners taking place now. But I don't think we really have a cap on the number of runners. It's a really neat course that we've laid out. We're going to begin at the Edenville Winery on Voorhees Road, the old Voorhees Mansion. Right. We'll begin there, and the race starts at 7 in the morning. And we're going to take them out through Namas's property is next door, and they've graciously opened it up so we have enough room to set the course. And so it's going to be a grassy, they're going to mow all the course for us. Okay. So it's going to be a short grassy run in the cool under the trees, and down around the ponds, and through the orchards and the vineyards, and it's going to be a nice cool morning run, 5K, 10K, whichever you're up for. So it's going to be a nice, beautiful run.
What do they do? How do they get signed up for it?
RedemptionRidge.com.
Okay.
There's an events tab at the top. You'll see the run and dinner event, and they can sign up for a run, and they're going to end up getting one of these nice sport tote bags here with the Redemption Ridge logo on it. I don't know if you can show that there.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a great little sport tote, and all the runners will end up with one of those. And then dinner that evening, there at the Edenville Winery at the Voorhees Mansion, we're going to have Quality Catering, which is Cafe Déjeuner over on Main Street. Right. Great food. Going to have it catered in that evening. And we're going to have Jim Williams, who is a Medford detective, come and share, along with Rebecca Bender, who many know. Jim Williams is going to actually, I talked with him a couple days ago. He has an open case right now where some girls from out of the area were picked up here. It was a trafficking issue, and now they're investigating it. And because they're from out of the area, you know, change the names and not. But he's going to be able to actually share what they're learning in this case and what's going on in that case. So.
Well, let me encourage you, RedemptionRidge.com, and be a part of the run, the dinner. If you can, sign up, be a part of it, support this, take a look at it. If the Lord's moving on your heart to get more involved, and it really takes a moving of the Lord in your heart to do this, it's amazing how Terri and others can use your help, and you can be a part of really something that's very unique and life-changing. And I think it's just wonderful. I can't wait till you announce the house and everything's ready to go. So I know you got to keep that under wraps for now, but you are definitely in the process of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so sign up for the run coming up. Let's see, a week from Saturday.
Yes.
And that'll be August 3rd, and a beautiful run. And then if you can, support it by going to the dinner, and that's redemptionridge.com. Well, Terri, thank you, and let's stay in touch with this. This is so important and so incredible. I just commend you for obeying the tug to go for it.
Well, I appreciate you being here to help us get it going as well.
Yeah. All right, thanks. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
We'll be right back.